Now we have the critique to the deontology of Kant. We will look at the merits and some problems of Kant's categorical imperative according to different authors. The merit of Kant's theory resides in its due emphasis on the absolute and immutable nature of morality. In this way, Kant's theory helped to save morality from the destructiveness and insanity of moral relativity and skepticism. Kant provided a rational, philosophical basis for the dignity of man. Man, according to Kant, is the only creature who governs and directs himself and his actions, who sets up ends for himself and his purpose, and freely orders means for the attainment of his aims. Every person is thus an end in themselves and should never be treated merely as means, as per the order of the Creator and the natural order of things. People propose, pursue, and promote different ends and aims in the exercise of their free choice, and likewise provide different ways and means for the attainment of such ends, but in no way and by no means should a person be used or exploited against his will as means to further the selfish ends of any other person or groups of persons. So this is from Montemayor. From For Articulo and Florendo, Kant's ethics reminds us about the dangers of relying too much on our emotions when making moral judgments. It tells us to tame our passions through the proper training of reason. It advises us to develop a strong and determined will, to be unfaltering in our adherence to duty and observance of laws. The categorical imperative flourishes us in the values that we need in the world. The world needs more people who are honest, who love their work, have a genuine dedication to serve others, are obedient to the laws and always recognize and respect the dignity and rights of others, and place a higher order of importance in the welfare of others than on the acquisition of material gain. By trying to help man strip of his selfishness, his work or his profession becomes more meaningful and of real value to his society and to the entire humanity. Categorical imperative as a theory of life also has its own problems. So this is from Articulo and Florendo. A major criticism is that they unrealistically set a very high standards of conduct attainable only by angels and saints. It unfairly asks for moral perfection from an imperfect man. Its cold objectivity and especially its indifference to human emotion detach it from the everyday realities of human existence in the social world, so only attainable by the angels and saints. Another problem usually raised against it is the inability of the Kantian theory to address possible situations where moral duties come in conflict with each other. For instance, if we are to ask to tell the truth but in so doing will endanger the life of another, what should we treat as our moral duty, to tell the truth or to save life? Some Kantian postulates are also observed to be contrary to human experience. From Montemayor, Kant does not provide a deeper explanation why reason commands and why we must obey duty as a norm of morality. Kant does not explain the ultimate reason but merely takes for granted why reason commands and why reason obeys. Second is, duty cannot be the sole motive in the performance of an act. There are other motives that are more worthy and more noble, such as love, pity, mercy, and others. There are many actions which are not only good but unquestionably of the highest category of love and patriotism, like for example Jose Rizal dying a hero's death, which was not motivated or inspired by duty but by love. According to Kant, this heroic act of Rizal cannot be called morally good because it is not done out of pure sense of duty. Now there are many acts which cannot be universalized, such as the one mentioned, that is dying a hero's death by martyrdom. Since this act cannot be universalized, it would not be morally good according to the Kantian test for a good action. Then, as a side note, Montemayor said Kant likewise did not practice what he preached, since he remained a single all his life, an act which cannot be universalized and which accordingly would be morally wrong. Then we have the critic Kantian ethics by Babor. So Kantian ethics is indeed a highly idealistic one. It emphasizes that ethics is absolute or categorical and that ethics is founded on reason. Kant contends that the moral law is determined by our rational capacities. In other words, man as a rational being imposes the moral law upon himself. Kant also sounds quite polemic in saying that duty is the only motive in the performance of an act, that duty does not consider whether the agent is happy or pleased with his action or not. Worst of all, Kant posits his sordid contention that God has nothing to do with man's moral duty. Kant's claim that man should act only if the action he wants to perform will become a universal law is erroneous. In principle, it is wrong to argue that moral rules are practiced universally because there are many moral rules or actions specifically that cannot be universalized. That is from Babor. So there are still many things to discuss and many things to clarify. Nevertheless, having learned the beauty and the downside of Kant's deontology, all the more we need to balance this moral theory with our keen practice of critical thinking. That's it for today, and thank you.